It's been almost a month since Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker was released, and I still hate this film. Every time I think about it, it makes me so upset, and I don't want to feel this way anymore. I need your help.
What do you hate about it, Ali?
Everything. I'd have to get into spoilers to talk about that, though. Are you cool with that, Dr. Mattu?
It's an occupational hazard. Patients spoil stuff for their therapists all the time.
Everything I was waiting for doesn't make any sense. Like, let's take the Emperor, for example. How he comes back, what his plan is, how he's defeated, doesn't make any sense. Or Kylo Ren, his redemption, his arc, that was something I was waiting to see for this whole trilogy. It's because of a Force hug from General Leia and then some healing power from Rey. And speaking of Rey, she is not important in the last movie and now becomes super important because she's a granddaughter of Palpatine, but her parents are not important at all. Like, how were the parents formed too? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I don't like that direction they took her. I could go on and on, but I'll keep it to that.
It's interesting because most people don't experience stories this way, where you sit down already with so many expectations about what's going to happen.
It's not about expectations. Skywalker is just a bad film, and I hate it.
What's it been like for you to hate this film?
I mean, it sucks. I know it's not healthy to feel this way about a film, to feel your blood pressure rise every time you're reminded about it. So I try to not talk about it. I try not to think about it. I just try to keep it out of my mind. Obviously, that hasn't been working.
Have you been able to talk to anyone about this?
Just a couple of friends and some family. You know, I don't want to yuck anyone else's yum. A lot of people enjoyed this movie. I asked people on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter, and most everyone seemed to be totally fine with this movie. I feel like I'm in the minority here, and I've seen what happens to other people when they post about this on social media. One post criticizing this film, and there's a tsunami of hate that fills your feed. I don't want any of that either.
Keeping this off of social media makes a lot of sense. I mean, we're not built for people with extremely different views to collide with each other on social media. What concerns me, though, is you haven't been able to talk to more people about this in real life.
This is why I'm talking to you.
Right. So, all this anger is isolating you. I follow that. What I'm confused about is this. You've disliked stuff before. Star Trek Discovery and Rogue One are good examples of that. Yet, you didn't hate them. You were able to find things about each that you actually liked. So what is it about Rise of Skywalker that's so different?
I don't know, Doc. I don't know why this is affecting me so much. I mean, I'm much more of a Trekkie than I am a Star Wars fan, but there's something about this movie that I just can't shake.
Do you trust me?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some homework. And what I want you to do is finish this between now and our appointment next week.
You're kidding, right?
It's the fastest way through this. We have to figure out what's the thing below the thing. What is it that is fueling this intense emotion?
I don't know how to do this. You're asking me to disregard 30 years of memories.
Think of it as a mindfulness exposure. And when your mind is going to the place of this is so stupid, be aware of it and just bring yourself back to the assignment I just gave you.
That was really hard to watch a Star Wars movie as if I've never seen one before, because this movie depends upon you knowing so much about the last 8 movies that have come before this one. That being said, to try and notice those times where I was comparing this movie against the other ones, or comparing it against my expectations, or what I've read from reviews, or what I know about film criticism and Robert McKee's story, all that sort of stuff. When I became aware of that and just sort of
paused that, I was able to appreciate what this movie's about and think of this movie as just one entry into a larger family of stories. When I did that, I realized this movie is about family. It's about parents and kids and grandparents, and it's about who the families that we're born into, the families that we choose, the people we love, the people who we want to distance ourselves from. It's about defining your own identity. The other thing I was aware of when I left the theaters, how unusual this movie going experience was, because like, look, it's just me. I'm the only one who watched this. I've never seen a Star Wars movie like this where I walked out and I'm like alone. That doesn't leave me with any hate or anger or frustration. It leaves me with sadness.
You can stop it right there. Most of my patients just scribble down some notes in the waiting room before our appointment, but you made a video reaction to your homework. I'm a YouTuber. Filming myself reacting to stuff is most of what I do for a living.
Why'd you want me to stop right there in the video?
Because that's the thing below the thing. Connection.
Connection is why you hated this movie?
Star Wars is about experiences with people I love, like watching The Return of the Jedi with my brother and then pretending our couch is a speeder bike, or going to see The Phantom Menace opening day, ditching school with my buddies, and then singing Korra Rath Radama on our way out of the theater, or seeing The Force Awakens with my wife and getting really emotional when we see Rey wield that lightsaber for the first time.
So Skywalker didn't give you any of those experiences?
No, I mean, I watched The Rise of Skywalker sitting next to my nephew, and he's super cute because his favorite movie is the movie he's watching right now. He gets super into it. I guess he's just a lot less jaded than I am.
I'm confused. So why did you hate Rise of Skywalker?
It's because of my daughter.
So she hated the movie?
No, she's only seen bits and pieces of Star Wars, but it's already enough for her to love it. She loves to pretend that she's BB-8. She loves to reenact The Empire Strikes Back with me.
I'm Theo.
I'm your father.
She goes to sleep with her little Yoda with her every night. And I've just kind of come to accept that she will probably love Star Wars more than Star Trek, which makes sense because Star Wars is a lot more fun to play than Star Trek. I mean, most kids aren't playing, debating the moral implications of the Prime Directive in a Enterprise conference room. I want to share Star Wars with her. I want her to have that same experience I had, that connection through Star Wars. I want her to love it, to enjoy it. I want her to see herself in Rey, this person who came from nothing and became everything. I want her to believe that that's possible. And when I saw this film, I think it made me feel like things went in a different direction with Rey, and it kind of ruined this new trilogy for her.
This all makes sense.
Also, it doesn't. What do you mean?
When you were a kid, what did you and your dad watch together, other than Star Wars?
Ton of British comedies like Are You Being Served and Mr. Bean. He was also really into Get Smart, Columbo, and Mission Impossible.
What do you remember about watching those things with your dad?
Laughing mostly.
Do you still watch any of that stuff?
Yeah, Mr. Bean, I watch episodes on YouTube and it always picks me up whenever I need it.
You have to give your daughter what your dad gave you. Share the things you love with her. Help her to understand them and then let her make up her own mind. That's the lesson of Rise of Skywalker, right? You define who you are, not your family.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't hate the film anymore. I also don't love it.
Two opposing ideas can coexist at the same time. We call that a dialectic. In Star Wars, it's like Kylo and Rey and how they form this dyad in the Force.
Okay, Doc, I get it.
If you want more of my thoughts on Star Wars, check out this playlist right over here. I've got a video about Star Wars and mindfulness, my reaction to The Force Awakens right after it came out, the psychology of The Last Jedi, a video with my wife reacting to watching
Star Wars for the first time with me analyzing her reaction, and also a video series where I debate Star Trek and Star Wars with a good friend of mine at San Diego Comic-Con.